Today we're speaking to Tom. He's a tennis coach and he's helping himself to around £12,000 worth of cash each and every single month. Now, here's the thing about this conversation. He wants to build a really big business, but does he? Does he really? I think he needs a lifestyle business because I think purpose means more than profit to him. This is going to be an interesting conversation, and I think whatever level you're at in entrepreneurship, you'll be able to take something from this because Tom knows where he wants to go, and that's a magic trick. Hello campers, welcome back to Business Broadcast. I don't know why I put my arms in the air like some preacher.
I was about to say, you used to give us like an evangelical talk. I quite like the idea of that.
Well, I'm not.
I'm fine.
But we are going to try and grow Tom's business, who is our guest today.
We are.
Before we do that, we've got lots to do. We've got a general catch-up and fact or quote of the week.
Oh, yeah. Don't miss out on that, guys. Do not miss out on that. I find this sort of... After you.
No, you go first.
No, you go first,
No,
mate.
I was just taking the mick out of you.
Okay, fine.
You went,
Again, Chuds had to pop out for a minute, so Jim just used the time to mock my clothing again.
Well, if you can
come
see
in
on
a polo
camera...
shirt or a cardigan, so you come in both. I'm just like, is there ever a day? Do you know what I'm going to do? One day I'm just going to turn
Come on, admit that is funny.
Absolutely. I'm just going to turn up naked and see what you say then.
Regular viewer of this
You
podcast.
won't be laughing then, I tell
Hang
you.
on a sec. Regular viewer of this podcast, I sent in a joke.
Who?
And I told it to Judd.
Okay.
James Martin, who loves watching all of our stuff. He watches our stuff more than me. A very good friend of mine, very good business friend of mine. Went out for dinner with him last night to chew the fat.
You just told me some facts about James Martin and what he used to do when he had like a very big successful company.
Yeah,
I didn't even know it was a thing.
I think we should get James Martin on for a bonus Q&A with us. I think he's an exceptional person. He's very funny. He's built an amazing business, huge commercial property empire, one of the world's, or one of the country's best wedding venues, but probably Europe and the world.
Oh, it's amazing.
In the top 100, in my opinion. Might
as well tell everyone what it is now.
It's called Baddow Park House.
There you go.
Beautiful place.
He's not getting an affiliate, guys. It feels like it, but he's not.
He started as a tree surgeon.
Yeah.
And he's done lots of tree surgery work. But
So this is what I thought he'd made his fortune doing. Tree surgery, and then you told me, no, he does this thing where he
moves trees. I think
I was
is
like,
where
that's even a thing.
Well, that's a specialist skill set. He's probably going to watch this and think, oh, I love them talking about me. But he's very good at moving trees. If you've got a tree over there and it's blocking the view and you want it moved 4 meters over there or 100 meters over there, he's got special machines that pick up
I love that. I'm forever looking out the windows and go, do you know what? I love that tree, but I wish it was just 4 meters.
And do you know what? If that is your thought process, you can have a certain amount of cash to be able to move the tree, aren't you?
Yes.
Which goes against one of my quotes. If you're not happy where you are in life, move, you're not a tree. Well, actually, James Martin...
He could solve that for you as well.
Could sort that one out for you. But anyway, we love selling jokes to each other and we love telling the odd joke here on this business podcast, which we do like to remind people is a business podcast. But he said this to me today. He said, Lance is a very uncommon name, but in medieval times, people were called Lancelot. There you go. Thank you, Jamie Martin. See that you've made an appearance on this
There you go,
podcast.
Jamie Martin. Thank you very much. Right, should we have a fact or quote of the week as we're doing nonsense sections of the show?
Can you go first?
Yeah, no worries.
Interesting quote.
Means you haven't got one then.
No, I've got one.
Fact. Interesting quote of fact. It's time for the interesting quote of fact of the week.
I can't wait to see what James Martin thinks of this section. He is going to hate it.
I don't think he will.
With a passion. He will.
Are you going fact or quote this week?
I'm going to go for a fact.
Okay, what's your fact? Is it going to be a business one?
No,
or
it's,
is it
it's
something
going to be, I'll tell you what, it's a fact mixed in with a quiz. How do you like them apples?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to JB's Quiz. We're just filling for a little bit of time. I come up with one fact about business, but I turn it into a quiz instead. And I ask the studio audience, which consists of him, James Sinclair, and him behind the camera, Chuds. How much do you think the UK sport industry is worth in terms of GDP to this country? Chuds, first up.
What, percentage or money? Percentage
Money.
of GDP? Money.
Sports. Yes.
So what are we including? Football, cricket?
Everything, sport.
Everything.
Don't try and overcomplicate. Amount of money. He can go first and you can go higher or lower. I don't afraid it's the fall. Oh my God, just have a guess, Mystic Meg.
The total GDP of this country
Here we go.
is around 2.4 trillion, I believe, or 2.2 trillion. So I'm giving Chuds a bit of help here, aren't I?
Yeah, I mean,
because
you
if
really
you know that the total GDP of the country is 2-ish trillion,
So it's 2 trillion.
and we're just talking sports. I love this. Where are you getting all this from? He can't hear it.
I know.
This was great. I'm going to go with 160 billion.
160 billion. Sinclair's gone 160. Chuds.
I'll give him the music for why he's
He
thinking.
can't. 200. So you've gone 160. Billion with a B.
Yeah.
Billion with a B for you as well.
Yeah.
So we're in the section. It's 39 billion. So there you go. Yeah, the sport. Well, come now. Sport and physical activity contributes 39 billion to the UK's economy, and it's a significant, easy for me to say, portion of this comes from grassroots sports. The millions of people who buy trainers, bikes, gym memberships, or pay match fees. The sector boosts the economy in multiple ways. Mainly, well, it makes it.
I just think, does that include the Premier Football? Because that's massive, isn't it?
I can either confirm nor deny. Sportengland.org, economic
I
development.
think this is people just buying trainers. A match day. So Chud's is going to check now. What's the size of the Champion League, the Premier League,
The Champion League, you don't even know the name of it.
the
The
second
football.
division? Whatever it
Second
is.
division.
I'm sure that's going to be worth a lot of money, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's not like, that's the TV rights and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, all of that, but you said
would you say
no.
Would you say
you said the whole?
You threw me
what
off because you
you've
started
done-
going, is that percentage? What is that? What's that? LTV? What's that?
What you done is just went on a website and pulled off some random facts.
While you were writing your quotes.
No, I know what my
filled
quote
for time.
is.
No, you don't. Because you
My quote-
always choose Jim Rohn.
No. My quote comes from. What have you got here, Chuds?
I never thought there's 53 billion.
There we go.
It's a lot of money, guys, basically. So sport makes a lot of dough.
That's our proof.
That's
we
a
are.
fact.
Yes. JB's fact is he's now confirmed that there's a lot of money spent on sport in the United Kingdom.
You're welcome.
Mine is a quote, and it is not from Jim Rohn, but it is this.
Is it from James Martin?
No. A good friend of mine, Andrew Wolf, actually. Another. It's one of his little keynote phrases.
Who is this Andrew Wolf?
You'd love him.
Who is he, though? He's like this mystical fit. Is he like Rich Dad Poor Dad that he doesn't actually exist? You've just made him up in your mind because then you can write a book about him.
No. He's one of the most wonderful people I've ever come across.
Yeah,
in
you
my
said
life.
he's one of your favourite human beings on the planet. I think you said he's
Yes.
your favourite human being on the planet.
Yeah,
I was like, I hope Nats does not read your newsletter.
I think she would agree
Really?
because anyone that meets him loves him.
What? Who is it? Does Chud's met him?
You met Andrew Wolf, haven't you, Chuds? At my wedding.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Yeah.
Who is he then? Because I honestly thought this was like a
He's what we
fictitious
should-
figure.
He is the human being we should all aspire to be. And we'll all know one of these in our life. He's so fair. You know, you go out for dinner with him, even if there's 20 people there. And we went out for dinner on my wedding thing. You want people to talk about you the way I talk about him.
Right, okay, fair enough.
Then you've
Yeah,
cracked it in life.
yeah.
So we went out for this dinner in Santorini. There's about 20 of us, and he'd not
You said
even
a
met.
stag do? Is this a stag? You out on a stag in
No,
Santorini?
I got married in Santorini, but
Yeah.
because it's a wedding abroad, people stay 4 days before and 4 days
Yeah,
after,
yeah.
and you end up doing more meetups and dinners. And beautiful, lovely thing. And we all went for this sort of sunset dinner thing, about 20 of us, and he paid for everyone. Didn't tell everyone he paid for them. The bill came around. I said, "The bill hasn't come round," and he just went, "No, I've covered it." But he didn't know half the people.
I love people like that.
Who is this guy?
I love people
so
like
all
that.
of a sudden, everyone's like, "Who is Jesus Christ sitting at the other end of the table?" That's just but no, it's not just.
What did he do in business? Is he still in business? Is he retired or?
he was CEO of a big leisure park. He sat on the board of a big 100 million cooperative that like bought food for a co-op group. He's done lots of business advisory and mentorship. That's not what it is for me. It's just, I've picked up some business stuff from him along the way. Of course I have. Like I've picked up stuff from James Martin. Of course I have. And I think they would both say they've picked up some stuff from me. What I learned from Andrew Wolf is you can be a business person and be a good person, and that's okay.
Oh, really?
Because
nice.
he is proof in the pudding. Now, there's a couple of phrases that he always says. Good things happen to good people, which was going to be my quote of the week. Good things happen to good people, because I think a lot of people think that you have to be a little bit nasty to win in business. And when you are a little bit nasty, you might win a short-term win, but people don't positively talk about you, and then they're wary of doing business
your
with
card.
Yeah. They go, oh, he's a shark to deal with. But if you're fair and reasonable, I think the long-term effect definitely pays you back bigger dividends. Now,
How early in your career did you learn that lesson?
Well, he emphasised it to me, certainly, for sure.
Was it early doors? Did you meet him quite early?
I met him in Las Vegas at a leisure conference, and I didn't really know him. And then I bought Marsh Farm, and then I really sought him out, and he just gave me so much time, and he was just so lovely and fair and reasonable, and he instilled values in me. That are just...
That's powerful, isn't it? When you can just meet someone who does that.
And he continues to do it for me.
Yeah.
You can't help but be impressed by, how much he's helped people.
Is he like a business father figure?
No, I think he's a more than that. I'm sure he would take that, but I think he would be more proud of his ability to make people better human beings.
Really? I've got to meet this fella. He sounds incredible.
He's a lovely man. He's just a wonderful man.
Go on, give us his quotes.
So one of these things he always says, it's like everyone's got their, keynote phrases. He always says good things happen to good people.
Yeah.
And the other thing he says, when you pay people, you get their hands, and when you're good to people, you get their heart. And if you can get their heart and their hands, it's impossible not to win in business.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this guy as well. He sounds like someone.
But let me tell you now,
write a book.
Do not think that this person is not someone that knows his numbers. He knows his numbers probably more impressively than anyone I've ever met. Be under no illusion, this person is a fantastic business person. Outstanding. But he's also brilliant with people.
Is he still in business now?
Yeah, well, he's doing coaching and mentoring and for people in the leisure world.
Okay. You should get him at BMC.
He's been to some of my events before.
Has he?
He's
give us the quote again. That's brilliant. If you pay them, you get their hands.
Well, if you pay people, you get their hands.
Yeah.
And if you look after people, you get their hearts. And when you have their heart and their hands, it's impossible not to win in business. I mean, I've sort of salt and peppered that a bit.
Yeah.
But the theory is there. And
how many years into your business journey did you meet him and heard lessons like that? Because I can see that
Well, I spend a lot more and more time with him as the years have gone on. It's just...
But the heart and hands thing, like you've got...
But certainly, if something's tricky and you're thinking about dealing with a situation, I would sometimes think, what would Andrew do?
Do you?
Now, a lot of people would think, what would Mum do or what would Dad do?
Yeah.
But I do think, what would Andrew do? He is one of the best gifts as well that Andrew ever taught me as well. When you're dealing with a charlatan, a nasty person, a person that is argumentative because they want to win the argument. He always said, and this is such a great piece of advice, and one thing that I continue to do, not often, but when it is difficult, he always says, read the poem If by Rudyard Kipling before you go into the confrontation, because you will handle the confrontation so much better. And if you haven't read the poem If by Rudyard Kipling, that poem is basically what makes a brilliant human being. Have you ever read it?
I've not.
So I sent him a copy of the poem in a photo frame for one of his birthdays.
Oh,
and
nice.
I also have the poem hanging up in my kitchen. It's an amazing poem. I think one of the absolute bests. Maybe you should read it out now. I think it.
Shall I, if I can find it?
Yeah, it's there. It's one of the most famous poems ever. And you just listen to the words, and that is how to deal with. It's fantastic.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but you make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream, I mean, this is pretty long.
Just do it. Come on, it's beautiful.
If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same. God, this is good. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you give your life to broken and stoop to build them up with worn out tools.
That's the best line of it. Just read that last line. Look, or watch the things
you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can, I'm not reading the rest of it. It's too long.
No, read it, Jay. No, because it's a story.
If you can dream and not, oh no, sorry, I read that bit. If you can, I'm ruining it. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. God, this is life advice, isn't it? If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve you turn long after they are gone, and hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you and none too much, if you can fill the unforgiven minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Beautiful.
That is lovely, isn't it?
That's Andrew.
That is him, is it?
That is Andrew. If you could, that's
bottle him up and put him on a page. You get a bit misty-eyed about Andrew, don't you?
Yeah, I think he's just that's him.
Yeah, amazing. Should we get on with the podcast now then?
See, I'm glad you read that out to the end. You're happy you did now, aren't you?
Yeah, but I sort of butchered it.
No, I think our listeners will think, oh, that's great. And I promise you now, if you go into a confrontation with someone, you've got an awkward meeting, which they will happen in business.
Yeah.
And people will accuse you of things that just absolute fabrications of the truth. If you read that before you go in, but I've sat in meetings and I've had that there. And when they were just going and making stuff
really?
Up, and I was reading it, and it helped me hold my calm. And one of my phrases, and Aaron always quotes it back to me, that I always say is a calm man is a wise man.
Yeah, that's very true.
And if you can keep your calm, which is you always win the day.
Yeah. I feel like I want to end the podcast there. We've not even got Tom on yet. Right, shall we talk to Tom then? Let's talk about Tom. So do we talk about his business yet? I don't even know if we got that far, do we?
Well, he's got a tennis coaching business.
He has got a tennis coaching business, and he's also got a multi-sports training business, all rolled up into the same thing. He's currently doing about 12k a month in estimated monthly revenue. He's got two full-time staff, and when he applied to be on the show, which might be a couple of months ago, he had 3 assistants, so I think we'll also do some trainings for him. Maybe they've become the full-time staff, we'll find out. His biggest challenge is how to scale the big business. The second biggest challenge is what to be working on when he's not in the business. He's clearly at the moment spending a lot of time working in it as well as on it. Third biggest challenge is timetabling a day, as generally he works evenings. Where does he want to be in 1 year's time? He wants to have a new club with an extra 100 clients and less hours on the court. So he's trying to get working on it, not just in it. What does a business look like when it's finished? We always like to ask people that. He wants to have a group of 10 tennis clubs with 1,500 weekly players, creating a clear pathway from the club to an academy. Do you make the profit that you want to? He says, and if so, what is it? He says, yes, but I have the multi-sports business, which helps. What do you do day to day with your activity, day to day with your time in the business, answering emails, delivering sessions, contacting schools, planning timetables? He's very much in it and on it all at the same time. And then he's got a couple of questions that he'd like to ask you as well. Should we get him on the pod?
Yeah, before we do that, though, I just, I think it's difficult to grow this and turn this into a commercially profitable enterprise that works without you in it. I think when you look at the entrepreneur's pyramid and the 3 levels of entrepreneurship, it is the top of solopreneur, just going into entrepreneur.
Yeah.
This is very difficult to make this a hands-off.
And what is the entrepreneur's pyramid? What are the three stages you see?
So we talk about solopreneur, entrepreneur, investorpreneur. Really, the investorpreneur is still an entrepreneur, but they behave like a shareholder and owner of the business.
Yeah. So that's how you now operate. So you're not in the operation.
Well, certainly that's where I'm always trying to get there.
Right, yeah.
Even if we start something new, and I might very much be an entrepreneur, but I'm never a technician of the business. And he's a technician of his business.
Yeah.
He is, doing the job and being the managing director, the head of marketing, all the stuff we talk about. But certainly the people that get to the top of the entrepreneur's pyramid choose models or are in models that allow them to get there quicker. And I think this will be difficult.
Shall we see if we can help though?
Yeah, let's see.
Let's do it.
Hey gang, we're going back to the pod in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you about Entrepreneurs University. This is a platform that I've created for entrepreneurs and business owners that are serious about growth. There's 100 video lessons from me on everything in business, raising finance, buying companies, property investment, and everything in between. Attached to each video is a downloadable PDF that goes into more detail about what we've learned in the video. It goes one step further than that because I've also put stuff that you won't get anywhere else onto Entrepreneurs University. The lessons go into way more detail, but not just that. You're going to get my business plans, my spreadsheets, and all the files that I use to drive the KPIs in my business. Just think about how powerful that could be for your business. And here's the good news. You can try Entrepreneurs University for free. 14-day free trial. After that, it will cost you just $49.99 a month. That's less than a pair of Nikes to grow the profitability in your business. There's a link in the video description, and I cannot wait to see you in Entrepreneurs University.
Tom, welcome to the podcast. Obviously, you've heard us chatting a little bit about the business and other stuff there in the preamble. Can you just give us a quick synopsis and a summary of the company as it stands today, mate, just so that all of the listeners at home understand where you're at on your journey?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you, obviously, for having me on. There's two main sides of the business. We've got the tennis coaching side, which runs at 3 local village clubs. We have around 250 children attending weekly sessions. And then the multi-sports side, which runs multi-sports camps, go into schools, and we run holiday camps and birthday parties.
Okie dokie. So, and you've been going for how long so far, Tom?
So I was a teacher for 5 years, primary school teacher, and I've only been going in full-time in the business for the last, it's 2 years this September, actually.
Oh, great. Okay. And you're employing people, so you've got 2 people full-time, and are they trainers and coaches themselves as well?
Yeah, so the 2 full-time people are tennis coaches, and they also help the multi-sport side of the business by going into schools.
Gotcha. And with the multi-sport stuff, is that in exchange for or in place of like PE lessons, or is this like an after-school program, or how does that work?
That's it, yeah. There's a whole mix. So sometimes we've got 2 schools currently where we go in and we deliver their whole PE curriculum for them. So we might be in there 2 or 3 days a week. And then we'll have a bunch of sort of 5 or 6 other schools where we're delivering their after-school sport clubs.
And do schools have to offer after-school clubs these days?
They don't, they do have to, because there's loads of things which they have to spend their sports grant and money on. So it's really expected that there's going to be sports after-school clubs to do it, and there's lots of awards you can get, and you have to have after school clubs to be able to achieve the Sports Mark Awards. The Sports Mark Award, and what is the Sports Mark Awards? They have to tick certain boxes to get that's
it.
To just show you that's to show as a primary school that you're putting sports and health at the forefront of your curriculum.
Okay, so if they haven't got the teachers or the capacity or the skill set internally, then they'll come to a company like you guys, and you can go and deliver it for them. Yeah. Quite often teachers sort of have PPA time, so it's planning time, like half a day a week, where it's generally PE because you need more skilled staff to come in and teach that, and that's generally the area staff feel uncomfortable teaching, and that's why they generally bring in companies such as us to deliver the PE curriculum for them. Right. So do you help them? Do you help the schools get the grant money? Is that part of the service that you offer, or do they already have it and they've got the budget? No, that comes from the government, so they decide how much money every school gets anyway. Okay.
And how much does a school get, roughly, for a sports
a sort of local village primary school? You're looking around about £17,000 a year to spend on sport.
And can they do that on people, equipment, both? Do they get complete autonomy?
Yeah, there's 5 different areas which they can spend it on. And yeah, people is one of them, equipment, going out and competing against other schools. So there's a strict criteria, but it is quite broad, where basically it can all link into sport. Even if you're doing a maths session which links in with sport, you can sort of get equipment for those bits as well.
I think people would be interested. What does a teacher earn now, if they, on average? Do you know what
A primary school teacher generally, so you're starting at around about 24,000, and it goes up in stages. So you go up sort of £3,000 to £4,000 a year until you reach leadership levels.
So if you've been a teacher for 3 years, you could earn 24 plus 9 grand. Is that what you're sort of saying?
That's correct. Yeah, you'll be at about 32,000 after 3 years.
But surely them 3,000 stop, otherwise.
Yes, yeah. So they only go up. I believe it's around about 6 years, and then it sort of stops there. And then you can take on other roles in the school. So you can take on leadership roles. You can be deputy head, and then go up the leadership scale that way.
We talk about schools, especially secondary schools, on the pod quite a bit. Do you know what roughly a budget is to run a primary school with 170 kids in? Do you know what it costs to run a primary school?
I don't really know. I only was ever involved in the sports side and know the grant and the budget of that.
Do schools struggle for cash? Are they always running out of money to run? Did you feel like that when
Yeah. I can't tell you as a primary school teacher how many glue sticks I had to buy for my children, because there simply just wasn't the money for equipment and things like that. So, and unfortunately, there's a lot of teaching assistants losing out on jobs because the schools just can't afford to have them.
So that's 17 grand that you said per year, but then they have to allocate it across the 5 different areas of sport. Do they have to apply for it based on what they're going to do with the money, or do you have to retrospectively report what you did with it?
Yeah, so you get that money, whatever. So every school, whichever size it is, will get a similar amount of money. And then at the end of the year, you have to have spent it all, and you have to show how you've spent it all. So you might see schools suddenly at the last month of the year where they've got £5,000 buying some huge random sports piece of equipment because they just need to spend it.
So use it or lose it.
And and would they get if they don't spend it all, do they reduce it down the next year? Is that why they have to spend it?
No, they still get the same anyway. It's just, you just have to, I mean, once again, if you don't spend it, then you like James said, you use it or lose it, really. If you've got £5,000 left, you can't then roll it over to the next year.
Right.
So you've gone from fully qualified teacher. How many years was you a teacher?
5 years.
And so the system lost you to being an entrepreneur. What was your is it just frustrations that made you decide, I don't want to do this anymore?
It was really. I was running the tennis coaching business at the same time as teaching. So I was teaching all day and then coaching all evening to try and build that up. There was always a vision for me going down that route. And it was just the ticking boxes of teaching. I loved the 9 till 3. I loved the teaching, being in the classroom. It was just absolutely everything around it. Just pushed me out. And I know so many other teachers have said exactly the same as well.
We just lost 2 great teachers at our school, who my eldest goes to, and that is exactly the same. They love the kids, they love the teaching. It's all of the box ticking, red tape, reporting, and all the other stuff.
It's the same with childcare. There's loads of people that love the looking after the children and hate all the stuff around it. Chud's girlfriend is a teacher. One day will be wife, I think. If she's listening. And also my sister's a teacher, and I know there's lots of frustrations. Going into now the entrepreneurship stage, things have gone pretty well for you. I think before I dish out what I think I want to say, I think it's really important that you know your ideal outcome, because it's not for everyone to build a James Sinclair monster. It's not for everyone to do space tourism like Richard Branson. It's actually knowing, actually I'll be very happy if I had £200,000 a year or £100,000 a year or £50,000, whatever your number is, hitting your personal bank account and having nice lifestyle work balance. Other people live to work and others work to live. Where are you on that scale?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you've asked this question before on the podcast, and I've always thought, where am I at, really? And And I see myself as building more of a lifestyle business, something which I can live happily on. I still always want a connection with it. So I never want to be, completely out of the business and set it on, and I still want to be involved. And I've always used a phrase which is like purpose of profit. So I get a lot of...
Sorry, Tom, can you just say that again? Because I think it's important, and you just cut out slightly. Can you just say that?
So my phrase I generally use is a purpose over profit. So I get a lot more content about getting people purpose, getting these children being active, getting them on a tennis court and seeing that, rather than how much money am I bringing in every single month.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. But also, once you're looked after, you can look after people more. And I mean, I was talking about Andrew, Andrew's, I don't think he's going to Waitrose thinking about what he's putting in the basket.
If he's going to Waitrose, he's done all right.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And I do think once you're in a good place, the ability that you can really help others completely changes. So if you could, I think the homework that before we get into it, and I'm not asking you to answer this here on the pod, you sort of answered it anyway by saying you would like a lifestyle business. If you say, look, if I had this amount of money into my personal bank account each and every single month, I can give back to the world in the maximum possible way. It's like you're on the aeroplane, they always say, cover your,
put your own mask on first.
Yes, basically that's the one, JB. If once you've got you're in safety, the amount that you can give back to the planet is just astronomical. So if you know what that number is in your head, like a dream number, we're not just talking about an extra £500. So you think, cool, if I had £10,000 a month hit my personal bank account, not the business bank account, my personal bank account, I could have all the holidays I want. I could have the car, the mortgage completely paid for, a bit of savings, create a nest egg, whatever it is for you. You write that number down. And then you reverse engineer the business to build that, because then you can build that business to where you want it to be much quicker. Because there's a little analogy. It's a joke, but a great analogy. There was a guy walking down the road pulling some string, and I went up to him and I said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Why are you pulling the string?" Do you know what? If you picked it, sorry, I've just forgot the analogy. I'm trying to get it just right. But basically, you just want to do the right stuff rather than pull it, wrap it up into a ball. It's something like that. And I heard it the other day, and it's come to me. I'll come back to that because I really feel like I've mucked that up. But you just, if you know what you want to build and you know what your personal bank account number is, the reverse engineering of building the business is so much easier. And that's what I'm trying to get at.
And then you do the more important thing as well, don't you? You build the life that you want. Because so often, and I think that's really nice that someone comes on and says, I want to have a lifestyle business, or blah, 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 I want to do,
lovely.
And at the moment, if you're saying you're in 3 clubs and you've got 250 students and you want, 3 times as many clubs.
The elephant becomes much easier to eat.
Yes.
Because you know what you're building.
Yeah. And why you're building it.
Yeah.
But I think that honesty as well of like, this is what I want, and I'm going to build the thing that I want. Because I think so many people just go, I'm going to be the next James Sinclair, I'm going to be the next Alex Hormozy, I'm going to be the next Gary Vee, I'm going to be the next Branson. No, you're not.
And you don't have to.
And you don't have to.
Yeah.
Don't get sold on that.
Absolutely.
Don't buy into someone else's dream, because the ultimate failure in life would be getting where you got to and being dissatisfied because you built you leant your ladder against the wrong wall and climbed to the top of it. That would be a real shame. Have you got your string analogy?
I'm trying to think about it, and I've completely lost my thread on it. But I think the theory is, it's just a beautiful thing. You want to just get yourself whatever that number is, and then reverse engineer, because you might not have to build something that much bigger. You might just need 10 more customers, 10 more schools. And actually when the number looks so small, because I think when no one knows what they're building, they might think in thousands.
Yeah.
And we've always said this on the podcast, for lots of people, they just need 10 more good customers.
Yeah.
Or 10 more good leads. And it's like, only 10? I don't have to worry about Facebook ads. I don't have to worry about making content. I'll probably just have to pick up the phone for a couple of days.
Well, he said 10 tennis clubs, he's currently got 3, so he needs 3 times as many clubs. And he said he wants 1,500 students, and he's currently got 250, so he needs 6 times as many as them.
But why do you want 1,500? Have you worked that out, or is that just a thing that you think you need to do?
I think, that is a thing I just thought I need to do. I don't think I've seen it enough at the end. I know I just want to, help as many people get on.
But Tom, you might hate it. You might hate it running 1,500 students. You might think, do you know what, the sweet spot's 500. Let me tell you this, let's go back to teaching days, and you've got a class of 20. Is that peak performance? But if you've got 44 in the class and it's just you, what's the point? What's the right level of water to the cordial to get the optimum flavour? Which is quite a good analogy.
That was good.
Very good analogy.
It's better than the string.
Yeah, better than the string one is good, and I will return on further podcasts and once I've got my thoughts gathered. But that's the point. That's the point. Because I think a lot of people do it because society tells us, or our network tells us we need to do things. But
you hear those arbitrary things, don't you? I want 5k, 10k, 20k a month.
Yeah, but why?
But do you?
Yeah.
What's your lifestyle cost you? Got no idea.
There never seems like an end point. So you're always just chasing something for not a reason, really. And I've sort of got pulled into that before, where I'll just get some more clubs because that will look great, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think your purpose over profit thing. I mean, if I was teaching kids, I would much rather have a class of 18 and they all excel rather than a 60 and everyone's doing okay.
Yeah.
Or below average. The thing about my son here, he's had some one-to-one teaching assistant. He's like doing really well at school just for that. It's a PTA comes around, sits in for an hour a week. Most of the kids in the class are doing this. It's a big thing. It's such a big thing. I'm thinking about investing into a business to do after school education, like an Explore Learning or a Kit McGrath, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually more than thinking about it. I'm actually having positive meetings about it. And it really works. And, you can be really proud of turning people's lives around and setting them up on fitness in their life. And I think, it starts with writing down what is the number, the PBA number. Now, this is always my sort of prescription for people that are building lifestyle businesses, because that is not my prescription, Tom, you see. I don't want a lifestyle business. I'm weird. I do want difficulty and struggle, and I don't wish it on anyone.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of business podcasts I listen to or business books I read, and it's all just focused on growth. Whereas actually I sometimes get sucked into that. But when I really sit down and think, I'm like, I just want that lifestyle one,
Tom,
which is...
You could be the best as well. You could be the best. And you can make some money. If you really want to help people from a macro point of view, you can make content. You can make YouTube stuff a little bit like Joe Wicks did over the PE stuff over the pandemic. He was helping a lot of people there. Yoo-hoo for him, he was doing a very good thing there. And you could do that. And you could do that really well, knowing that you're completely covered and you've got enough income coming in. Because I think people do need to be thinking about income in a big way for their future as well, because we're all getting older. And I think the writing's on the wall that governments are just not going to be able to help people in their pension plans for the future. So you need to be making sure that you're bringing enough income in, considering you may well live to over 100. Like, I think that's, it's mad. In the 1920s, the average death age was 45. If someone died at 45 now, they would think that's a horrific, tragic story. Now, if someone dies at 65, that's considered so young.
Yeah.
Like, people think, oh my God, he was only 65, even 70. Like, people are living a long, long time. And one of the great things an entrepreneur and a business owner can do is you can bring in more income and invest some of that cash into good stuff so that it serves you well into older age, because people are living longer, healthier and wealthier than ever before. Like we never tire of saying on this podcast, more 65-year-olds were created last year than 20-year-olds for the first time, and that trend is continuing. Especially with the Osmopic, whatever it is now, where no one's going to get fat.
Oh, God, yeah. Don't even go there. So I guess one of the things that you mentioned, Tom, was about the two sort of arms to it. So you've got the tennis coaching and then you've got the multi-sport business. If, for example, you do that sort of that inner work that Jimbo's talking about, and you look at that PBA number and you work out what it actually is that you're trying to build from sort of a guesstimate point of view, is it the tennis stuff that's going to be more profitable and is easier to run, or is it the multi-sports, or do you need both to sort of coexist side by side to make this work?
So they are, although they're separate entities, they sort of people cross along them both. Tennis is your more profitable one. There's a few less outgoings. You generally just have a coach and then your court fees. Whereas the multi-sport needs so much more equipment, so many more coaches, so many more insurances, everything like that. But generally, the multi-sport one is easier to grow because it reaches a wider audience. For example, we've got an activity camp running today. We've got 3 activity camps running today, and one of them's got 75 children at, which if we were to run a tennis camp, we may get 10 to 15 children.
So you do kind of need both of them then, realistically.
Yeah, I think, and they both feed into each other, don't they? And I think that's good.
Fold into the
empire. And I think I almost see the multi-sport one as a fun to build the tennis, because the tennis is where my passion really lies. But I think the multi-sport just brings in that revenue for me then to be able to bring the tennis one to where I want it to be.
Do you know, I'm a little bit jealous of you, Tom, because I think I love the fact that you can just get off this call and go, do you know what? An extra £4,000 a month would make me the happiest man on planet Earth, or an extra 5,000, whatever it is. And you can just so easily go, I just need 100 extra customers a month, or 10 extra customers, whatever it is. And you could probably have everything you want in a little under a year by just picking up the phone, doing some assemblies at schools, you know, all the stuff that you're probably doing. But what we're forced to do, and I just want to labour the point, is think macro, that we must get 1,500 students.
Yeah.
When actually you probably only need an extra 150 to get really where you want to have an amazing life. And you can just so easily go and get that.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
What is your route to market to getting into these places? Is it sort of the free trial sessions that you do in schools and then sort of send home leaflets in book bags, or what's your sort of foot in the door method?
Yeah, so we obviously have a lot of connections with local schools, being a primary school teacher.
It's amazing. That's
which is ideal. So I know generally a teacher in every of the 12 local schools around here. So I call them up. I'll go and do a whole free taster day. We did a big schools roadshow actually not too long ago, where we went around 12 local schools and ran a free tennis day, and then their leaflets, and then a big open day at the club. Is generally the best way, and that's where your market
bish bash
is.
bosh, you've got the dosh.
Exactly that.
It's pretty good, isn't it? This.
I mean, that's why I'm trying not to give you. Like if you said I want 1,500 staff, I mean, it's all about Facebook, Instagram ads. It's about making content. You don't need to do any of that. No. You just need to do more of what you're already doing. Maybe you go and find the next 6 schools that are 10 minutes more further away, and you probably could ask them teachers if they could. I mean, you're doing network marketing. That's all you need to do. You're going to have sticky customers. You're going to have repeat customers. I think just great. And I don't know if there's anything more to discuss.
No, definitely. I think it's made me realise that I don't need to just keep getting more schools, more children. I need to have a
go
real
for quality. Go for depth with your customers rather than volume. Because I wouldn't be telling you, if you said to me, no, I want to earn £100,000 a month, then different set of conversation. But you're not saying that. You know, you've got something really good here.
Lovely, thank you.
Final question: What do you think of paddle?
Oh, good question. I love it.
Oh, so do I. It's the best sport ever.
Everyone's talking about this.
I'm annoyed it's only just come in. But I think it's great. It's so easy to pick up. From our side, from business side, there's not much coaching in it because it's so easy to pick up.
Yeah.
People are just going on court and using it. But if you've got space to put up a paddle court, put it up and watch the money come in, really.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, everyone's saying I should build one at Marsh Farm.
Yeah, you could do actually.
Why is it so easy?
So it eliminates the serve. So tennis, the hardest bit of tennis is generally the serve. So in there, it's an underarm serve. And then you've got the walls, so it can bounce on the ground and then hit off the walls. So
you're always really in play, in effect.
Yeah, and if you're a beginner, you can just hit it off the walls a bit like squash. So there's generally no out if you want to play it in that sort of way. So it is really easy to pick up.
So it's like just rallying, is it, in effect?
Yeah, and it's scored the same way as tennis, so you can still play. There's still huge tournaments going on. Obviously, it's massive in Spain. It's really coming in over here. And there's a local golf club actually just down the road, which is putting up 4 paddle courts.
I'm seeing that loads at the moment. Yeah, golf courses especially.
Yeah, and they reached out to us saying, "What should we do? Do you want to come and do some coaching?" We've got 4 paddle courts which are covered.
But you know what might be good for you is people accomplish paddle, whatever it is, and then they want to do tennis.
Yeah, it is a step into tennis. There's also pickleball, which is the other one as well, and they're also.
I thought that's the one tennis. I thought. Yeah, that's the pickleball. Is the one I was thinking of. Yeah, because that's like I don't know, lots of things in life. You do it in the easy way, and then you go, "Oh, actually, I've mastered this."
Yeah, definitely.
I now.
As a beginner, it's definitely easier because you can go and just because if you've got a basic understanding of like 15, 30, 41, you're like, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There you go. Well, You've been amazing, sir. Thanks for being on.
I think this is the only podcast ever where it's just keep cracking on.
Well, just keep cracking because he's told us he wants to build a lifestyle business. He doesn't want a monster. And do you know what? Knowing that, well, the only other thing I would give you a piece of advice is make sure you get a notebook and write down what the ideal outcome is for you, like pen to paper, and then
content. You could be doing a bit more content as well.
Yeah, you could be doing that if that's it. If you really want to, but you probably don't need to. If you need, just go to more schools. Yeah. That's it. See, what JB's talking about is because he's spent a lot of time with me and he's thinking, well, I want 1,500 customers. And if you want 1,500 customers, you absolutely do need to do that stuff. True. But I don't think you even need to do Facebook ads or Instagram ads. You just carry on network marketing, doing assemblies and free trials in schools. You're doing what they would be doing in the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, because when you only need a few hundred customers, that's the cherry on the top, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and you're a teacher, which is great. I hope you put that on your marketing that you're, if you do send out leaflets and stuff. I'm a primary school teacher. Customers will love that because it's like a doctor prescribing the medication. Like subconsciously, they're taking it because the doctor said it. When you're a primary school teacher and you're a fully qualified primary school teacher, people will trust you even if you're rubbish because your society is giving you that award. Does that make sense?
The trust is huge. We put it on and at the summer camps like today, we've got a qualified primary school teacher running those because I employ them during their summer breaks.
Yeah, exactly
that. They never quite need the whole thing.
There's a radio station called LBC. I don't know. Do you know that?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a talk radio station. There's an amazing broadcaster on it called Nick Ferrari. He does the breakfast show in the morning. And if he gets experts on, it's worth listening to. It's a good advice for psychology of marketing, which we always talk about here. I mean, he's just amazing at it. If he's got a doctor on, he always says, well, what do you think about that, doctor? If he's got the Home Secretary on, he never uses their name, James Clever.
Yeah, because the title.
So what do you think, Home Secretary? And if he's got a professor on the show, lots of people are taking these things. What do you think, Professor? Because he knows that subconsciously the audience are listening in going, well, this is a bona fide bloody expert that we're listening to from here. And he is a master at it. Master at it. And so, like the risk reversal in marketing is if people know they're buying from a bona fide expert, that means they want to buy more. A recommendation from a teacher is risk reversal. But if it's a recommendation from the school and the teacher, and you are a teacher, it's a double whammy. And what I used to do when I started my entertainment business, I'd go to schools and say, can I do a free show for you in the audience and tell all the parents there? And that was how I built my business because the school gave me seal of approval.
Yeah, no, schools approval is huge. And we speak a lot to the schools, obviously, and they send out all of our things to parents. So it's really useful.
Good stuff. Well done. You're amazing. And
where can people find out more information if they are in the North Essex area and they're like, I want a tennis lesson. I want to get involved. My school needs this. Where can they go, mate?
Of course, yeah. So the tennis side is called Tennis Lessons for You, where you can obviously search Facebook websites, and then all of our multi-sports is called Multi-Coach, where you can find us online, Facebook and all there.
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much for being on the pod. Well done.
You're
to
amazing.
You, mate.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers, Tom. Take care. Well, there you go.
Jealous of him.
The first... Are you, though?
Yeah, because
You could do this, though.
Yeah,
you could do this.
I can't.
But you can.
Physically can't, mate. I can't.
You can.
I just couldn't do that. Well, I did have that. I was Jimbo the bloody party man. I was doing kids' parties. I was making 10 grand a month and it wasn't enough for my brain. My brain works faster than normal. I want to do more.
Here's a question for you. You don't have to give me the number.
Why, like I'm always saying you this, why does Richard Branson at 74 want to do space tourism? Because he don't need any more money, does he?
No.
Because he can't help himself.
No.
He's just started a cruise line at 74 years old or 73, whatever it was. Helped himself to 5 cruise ships. Like, do you need to be doing that when 80 is closer than 60, 50, 40?
That's true. Question. I don't need the number, but I need the answer. Do you ever sit down and do that PBA number?
Yeah.
Because it's not about what you need, is it? Yours is not like, I need this amount to live.
I've got that coming in, yeah. What I need to live.
But do you
My
know what that
problem
is?
isn't money.
Do you have a number you're like, I need?
Yeah.
I know it cost me.
But I think I'm more, for what I've got, I think I live more frugally than most.
Yeah, I bet you do.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a nice car. I live in a nice house.
You love a Marks and Spencer's Blueberry.
Yeah. But, you know,
all things considered,
I could do some stupid stuff. Like I can't spend money on
a fast car. I remember we had a conversation.
What I mean is that you wouldn't catch me wearing one of them horrific gold H belts. There was a Hermes belt.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen my belt? Everyone in this room, have you seen this belt?
Is anyone looking near my crotch area?
And then them belts are like 1,100 quid or something.
Is that why everyone's wearing them? I didn't even know.
Or you won't catch me wearing shoes without socks.
But you said, then you are not truly from Essex. You are from somewhere else. I remember we were talking once about cars. There they are. Proof. Look how supple he is. Shout out to his PT, Gabs. That's his fault. I remember you telling me, we were talking about cars. And you said, I'd love what is your favourite, your dream car?
Oh, a Rolls Royce.
Is it a Wraith
Ghost
or a Ghost?
Or a Wraith.
So what did you say to me? I said, well, why have you not got one? And you said to me, I just can't justify it.
Yeah, I can't justify it. I think people would think, here comes the knob.
Well, on the plus side, they're already thinking it, so you might as well get the car.
Yeah, but what?
But there's so many people who've got 1% of like the net worth that you've got who've got those sorts of cars. It's interesting, isn't it? But you would actually generally, you'd be more happy to have like buy another ancient bloody ice cream shop on Southend Seafront or something.
Well, I'd much rather own a warehouse than have a Rolls Royce. Yeah.
But when is it? How many warehouses do you have to get the Rolls Royce? It's like reverse monopoly.
Oh, I don't know, JB. I mean, I suppose every now and then you got to treat yourself, but I would think, here's what I'm buying, a depreciating asset that I'm not going to drive every day. So I'd much rather buy a 3-year-old Range Rover, that's usually what I do, so that depreciation's been knocked off and it's comfort to drive, and it's just about...
So interesting.
Well, the things that are important to me on a car is I like the armrests on the chair. That's very important to me.
The armrest on the chair.
I think they call it a captain's chair. Do you know what I mean? Where they
I
come
do,
down.
yeah.
So if I go in a car, when you...
So when you go for a test drive, you're not kicking the tyres, not looking under the engine, not popping the bonnet, you're just looking at the armchair.
And now also Apple CarPlay. If you haven't got Apple CarPlay, that's
a deal breaker.
Absolutely.
No, I can see that actually, to be fair. My wife's car's got it.
Once you've got Apple CarPlay, you ain't going back.
You're never going back, are you?
No.
That is true. Interesting.
Again, convenience.
But again, right, so a couple of weeks ago, you put, and it'd be a couple of months ago by the time this comes out, but you put out a video going, what do you do on your most challenging days? And a lot of people reach out going, are you okay? Is things going all right? So why do you said that you can't switch your brain off, but why do you put yourself through it when you don't need to?
Don't know.
And earlier in the day, I think
probably ego.
You have more bad days than good days, you said.
I think most people do, don't they? Life is not full of highs, is it?
No, but you could have more highs. You could cash your chips.
Yeah, but I want to feel like I'm being useful.
You could be useful doing something else, couldn't you? You could be Andrew Wolf to everybody.
No, it's not.
Can you?
I like creating things.
Bake a cake.
I like building ice cream factories, dinosaur parks, and turning businesses around.
But do you like it in those like sleepless night moments when you wake up in the middle of the night going, I can't believe I've got to find
but only really cash flow. That's the only thing that like, I can deal with things go wrong, like HRE problems, like people leaving. And you think, oh yeah, I really miss that person, or deals don't go the way you want to do, and you might lose a contract every now and then. Those things I can deal with. I've had a big fire at one of our sites 6 years ago. You know, I can deal with those things, but cash flow is the thing that really hurts entrepreneurs.
So what about you makes you not go, do you know what? If I just take my foot off the accelerator a little bit, I can have all of these cash flow problems could disappear. I could just slow down a little bit.
Well, not necessarily, because
So what if you had a war chest?
Yeah, in the last year though, so I'll give you this example. I was talking to my bank manager about this. The main one I use said, you know, we have to find an extra £100,000 a month compared to this time last year because of wage growth, inflation, and interest rates. And interest rates being the big kicker there.
Per month?
Yeah, an extra 1.2 million a year.
Just to stand still?
To stand still. So you're forced, when you're at my size, to grow your business. If you've got debt, I mean, my debt is commercial property. It's not really cash flow debt.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't got money that, because I've bought businesses, I've got long-term 25-year mortgages. They cover themselves, but you know, when interest rates are low, it is much easier. But on the flip side, when interest rates are low, property prices and assets go through the roof. When interest rates are higher, there's great deals out there. And if I see something and I think, oh, I can have that, I'll make it work, even if I haven't got the money to do it. And I never have all the money to do what I want to do because I have so many opportunities. So I find ways of doing it.
So do you know what the end looks like?
But then I go, why am I doing this? Like,
Yeah,
why
so-
did I buy this hotel? Absolutely doesn't change my personal financial circumstances.
So why did you?
Something to do.
Something to do. Bought
And
a
I think-
500-year-old hotel for something
But
to do.
I think I can sort it out and make it better. I can be the person that's repaired it. And then
And what
once it's all fixed,
to what end?
I like maybe the accolade of saying, yeah, we've done this good. And also for my team, you know, they need,
Okay.
you know, they always want more money and more opportunities and promotions. And if I don't grow the business, the team,
So you're stuck now, aren't you? You're stuck growing this forever.
it's a labyrinth being an entrepreneur with my brain. Yeah.
So how do you get out at the other end of this? You become a chairman of it? Someone buys the whole thing up? What do you have to do to be
For
able
me?
to? Yeah.
Death. I think that's the end of it for me.
So the way that your
I do
involvement
not
in this
see-
company is someone carrying you out in a box?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think I'll ever stop.
Will it? Okay, if you don't stop, will you change? Will you slow down? Are you going to be like
No,
one of
because
those like
the-
80-year-olds who sit in
no,
5
because-
days a week?
Obviously, I'm going to sell some stuff along the way.
Yeah.
And then I'll get a big lumps of millions of pounds.
And
I
then
think,
you're just going to go buy more
imagine
stuff.
what I can do with
Exactly.
this bigger.
So you're just going to give yourself more headache? More stuff, more cash flow.
I think when you do have liquidity days and you create serious wealth days, then I think there is a change.
Do you think?
To an extent, because unless you're an absolute nincompoop, and I would buy lots of things that would have assets and property around them, your assets are growing, so your ability to be able to do stuff is easier because you're borrowing less money or you're putting more money into it, and things get easier.
So after liquidity day, you're expecting the cash flow foot on your throat feeling will just subside?
I don't have that foot on my
bit.
throat feeling right now. Right now, things are great, you know.
But like last week, you might have.
But a month ago, you know, like maybe someone hasn't paid you and, you know, you owed lots of money, or, you know, those things can happen.
Yeah.
And the bigger you get, you know, imagine if you're £100 million turnover and then 10% of your turnover is owed to you from customers. All of a sudden, that's £10 million.
Yeah.
So if you're £1 million business and you're always owed 100 grand, you probably, if you was a bit short, you probably got a rich family member that go, oh, I'll lend you 30 grand while you're dealing with that for a couple of weeks. But when you get to 100 million,
no one's lending you 10 mil to cover the wages.
Yeah, or that you got to buy more stock or something happens, something breaks. But usually,
but you're still trying to get there. So the 100 million quid business that's got 10 mil outstanding, like you're chasing that. You're proactively running into that fire.
Yeah, well,
Covered in petrol.
yeah, but I don't know. I don't feel like that. I feel, no, because I think on the way I will sell some stuff that will mean that
You could just go faster.
yeah, and the more the trick is to put moats around you. But I'm telling you now,
Moats
if
around you
put-
or the business?
around the business and me that will protect it. I'm telling you now, you bring in Elon Musk or a Richard Branson, they are having these exact same conversation. I mean, Elon Musk was the richest man in the world, and he had to borrow loads of money from lots of different people to buy Twitter that he's turned into X. So he's got all of that wealth, but it's all in assets and shares and whatever. And so he's not liquid, is he? Most entrepreneurs are not liquid because they put their money to work.
So is the dream of
But for me, I think what is the way of how do we solve this conundrum is once you do have liquidity, you can create passive income through investing into commercial property.
which is what you talk about your side
and I do,
patterns.
and I do know that's right, and that's exactly it. And I do know lots of very high net worth individuals that have made money along the way, and they shove a load of stuff into commercial property that
Protection.
that they might then get 300 grand of rent a month.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be a calmer, isn't it? Because, that's going to calm you down and go, oh, actually the trading's not good, but here we go, another 300 grand's coming. I know someone that had exactly that. They had £3.6 million worth of rent roll a year. So every week he's getting close to 100 grand a week dropping in rents. And so even if you're having a wobble, so I've got 100 grand coming in on Monday, and then next Monday, and then...
Do you have it as a percentage then?
Well, I think you just aim to have as much residual income coming off of the back of investments as possible. But first of all, it's a philosophy that's what you want to have, and most people don't have that philosophy.
No.
Well, they like the idea of it, but they're not actually putting the steps in place to actually get it. So
if you have a liquidity event, then have you in your mind's eye go, right, 70% straight back into trading businesses, 30% I'm going to force myself, I'm going to carve that out and put it to one side?
Every year, no, not just on a liquidity event, every year I've bought some form of commercial property since I've been going, or property that has served as a moat and protection around me.
And do you do it as a percentage of what you've bought in, or something just comes up, you're like, well...
No, I make myself buy a property. Sometimes it's more. Some years last year we bought, I think, £2.5 million worth of commercial property. We're about to finish 750 on one, and in October we're buying a £4 million commercial property.
But you said, and this is how this conversation started, so we've got off on the right tangent here, but you said that you were jealous of Tom.
I'm jealous because I think...
I guess we always want what we can't have.
I would
and you
love,
can't have his life.
And I think my wife, maybe she wouldn't be attracted to me, but if, I said, oh, by the way, everything's, I haven't got any worries anymore, and we can have 30 grand a month and we can just spend it every month. But I would feel I'm not useful. I've paid the mortgage off. So this is a big question. So lots of people's dream is to pay their mortgage off.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Really? Is that your nightmare?
It's the cheapest money you can get.
Yeah.
My mortgage is 2.19% fixed, interest only.
Interest only?
Interest only. I don't want to pay the debt down on that. I paid debt down on all my commercial property, but on the house I live in. So, I think my mortgage is £4 grand a month. And it is going to be for the next 8 years.
So interesting.
So if I had an opportunity where I got, say, £15 million a lump.
To pay off. You ain't paying it?
No, I don't.
How much are you paying?
I'll go and buy
another one.
£15 million worth of commercial property that's going to give me all this cash. That means that I can always pay the £4 grand a month off. Why would I pay off 2.19% fixed when base rate is at 5% as we're making this video on the 6th of August 2024?
How interesting. What a random tangent, but I enjoyed that.
Good conversation, gang.
Right.
I loved your monologue of reading Rudolph Kipling's If at the beginning.
I would like to read that again, Beth. I'm going to read that and not fluff it.
You like it though, don't you?
And then I'm going to put some music to it.
What, and put it back in?
Yeah, I might do. Yeah.
He's got his own podcast agency if you would like to have your own podcast.
Yeah, please
check
do.
out James Sinclair.
We always talk about you. Why do we not talk about me a bit more often?
Just have them. Where'd you go to? Phonic Media.
Thank you very much.
Spelled with a P.
There you go. If you've enjoyed this episode,
We've
please...
got to do the rating.
Oh, of course we have. Yeah. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't go anywhere because we've got a rating coming up. That's what I was going to say.
So Tom is 8 traits of great entrepreneurs, and we're going to rate him right now, starting with the end in mind.
I think he does.
Okay.
Well, I think he came to the realisation during the conversation.
We'll give him half then.
Yeah, go on.
Passionate about their cause, yeah, we'll give him that. Untold amounts of resilience. I don't know, so 0. The master relationships people, anyone
Clearly.
that's a primary school teacher gets my vote. I love those people. Commercial awareness. I don't know. We didn't really go into
Fine.
numbers.
That's half. Give him half.
Yeah, I'll put 0, sorry. They innovate so they don't evaporate. I think we should give him that. I feel, yeah, they're master marketeers. We don't know.
He's not a master marketer, but he's getting all the leads he needs potentially. So I guess maybe that is a master marketer. Give him a half. Give him a little half.
No, he's not a master marketeer.
Well, you're giving him none for that.
No, give him half.
Oh, fine. Okay.
Let's teachable and curious. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 5.
5. It's
5.
Not bad going.
Not bad going.
The most important thing is he knows what he's trying to build.
There we go,
And he's
baby.
not kidding himself to live somebody else's dream.
So we go. So we go.
So we go.
Everyone's favourite saying.
That famous phrase, so we go. So we go to the end of the show. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you've enjoyed it, please feel free to leave us a 5-star review wherever you download your podcast, whether it be Spotify, Apple, or Amazon Music, if you could even leave a review there. And if you've enjoyed it, please let us know in the comments. And if you're maybe a sports brand, maybe you're a sporting company, you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment in there. What would you advise Tom to do to get to that PBA target that he needs? He's not far off by sounds.
PBA stands for personal bank account. That's the acronym.
There you go.
Just in case people don't know.
They all consumed you. If you don't know
This could be the
PBA,
first time someone's listened to this podcast. You need to be remember that because we're getting.
you need to remember that.
And if you'd like to see our second show, the Elocution Show,
Just give it up. Right, we'll see you on the next episode. Ta-da.
bye-bye. Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.